Now, as long as we've got you here, maybe you can talk a little bit about a little project you're working on across the street, which, ladies and gentlemen, that, of course, is the expansion of Disney California Adventure. As you may know, Bob has been helping oversee this multi-year effort. And it's really infusing the park with more classic characters, more Disney storytelling, more atmosphere, and frankly, more Disney DNA. So, Bob?
We actually have to thank all of you, cast members in the audience, for the tremendous support in this reinvention of DCA, which is going so well. I'm hoping that some of you saw the new main entrance that was just revealed a few weeks ago, or very shortly ago. That is just the gateway into the next big phase of construction, which will transform this to Buena Vista Street. Buena Vista Street is, much like Main Street, USA, which reflects the town of Walt's youth. Buena Vista will transport guests to the Los Angeles of the 1920s and 30s, when Walt first came here to start his career in filmmaking and to create the company that we know today. It will completely reshape the entry experience to this park with a mixture of beautiful architecture, shopping, dining, and fantastic entertainment.
I'm particularly excited about this. This is one of the things that I feel like this park didn't have, which was this great entry sequence with huge atmosphere. So it would encourage people to stop, enjoy the park, and really take it all in, like Main Street does for Disneyland.
And I think some people here in California have a nostalgia for the red cars that used to run throughout our Southern California area. And we're bringing them back in a highly detailed, wonderful experience. You'll be able to take them from the main entrance all the way out, as far out as the Tower of Terror. Now, we also just finished a wonderful 3D fly-through of our model for Buena Vista. And this will give you a sense of what will be behind that main entrance when it opens, when we reveal that. As you can see, it will be an immersive environment, the best of California's history and the best of Walt's history. You'll walk down this very intimate, narrow, tree-lined street. You'll see the red cars coming around. And at the end of the street, framed by Buena Vista, you will see this beautiful new icon, completely new icon, for DCA, which is a reinvention of the Carthay Circle Theater.
Don't forget to tell them about the great restaurant that we're putting in the Carthay Circle Theater, which is being developed by our amazing chef, Andrew Sutton from Napa Rose.
It's going to be a fantastic experience, as Tom said, and an anchor to this reinvention of the new DCA.
Well, thanks, Bob. Some of you may have noticed a subtle little piece of rock work going on across a mountain range that we're building right across the street. As you all know, that's the backdrop for Cars Land, the single biggest component of this Disney California Adventure expansion. So, here to join us to talk about this all-new 12-acre land is a veteran Imagineer who actually began her career right here at Disneyland in 1976, selling rubber snakes and shrunken heads at Adventureland. I didn't know that until yesterday. So, thank you, Bob, and ladies and gentlemen, the executive producer for Cars Land, Kathy Mango. Kathy. Thanks for coming over from the job site. It looks like you might have changed.
Yeah, I was a little dirtier earlier today.
So Cars Land really is one of the most anticipated aspects of the California Adventure expansion. So maybe you can talk a little bit about where we are, but also I think the inspiration for this land and how the Imagineers are really bringing the world of cars to life.
Oh, sure. Well, like Tom said, I just came from the site. I spent the entire morning there, and it is awesome, you guys. It is so incredible. The first thing we did when we were starting to work on the design of Cars Land is we went and watched the movie about 100 times.
Yeah, you and me both. I have boys.
Yeah, you've got your reasons. We needed to get to know the characters and the place so much better than we already knew them because we're building their world that they live in. After we did that, and after we really got familiar with the characters and we sort of laid out the street, Then we went on a fantastic 8-day trip of Route 66, and we really followed in the footsteps of the Pixar filmmakers who had been ahead of us for the Cars movie, because we wanted to get to know the people and the places that inspired the movie that's inspiring the land. Because in Cars Land, our guests are going to be able to get to go into the shops and the restaurants that are owned and run by characters like Flo and Ramon and Lizzie, and it was really important to us that we make their places reflect all their personalities. There's a couple places we were very specifically inspired by, and one of them is shown up on the screen here, and that is the Yellow Horse Trading Post in Arizona. You can see that there's beautiful rock formations, and we incorporated a lot of those formations into our own mountain. Another...
Rockwork might actually be bigger.
I think our rock is bigger too. It's so spectacular. So there's another place that had a really interesting history to it that inspired us, and that is Two Guns, also in Arizona. And a lot of the buildings that were there inspired the Q structures that we're designing for Radiator Springs racers. And along the way, believe me, we really met some interesting characters on Route 66.
Okay. I think I recognize most of the people in this picture, but who's the Imagineer in the striped pants?
His name is Harley Russell, and he and his wife Annabelle, and what he's wearing is what he calls his redneck tuxedo. He and Annabelle are the mediocre music makers of Eric, Oklahoma. They are huge fans of Cars Land, and we've even made them honorary Cars Land team members. What was so great about meeting Harley and Annabelle and so many other people on the road is that they had become friends with the people at Pixar. In fact, a lot of them went to the opening of Cars when it opened up in the East Coast. And they helped Pixar bring their film to life, and they invited us into that same circle of honor. And to us, that really gave us an even greater responsibility to really accurately reproduce just the friendly and the proud spirit of the Mother Road.
So, I know we're scheduled to walk the site in a couple of weeks, and that'll be great, but can you give us a little update on the construction?
Yeah, in fact, if you've been inside the park recently, Don could tell you that we are very, very hard to miss. But a couple of days ago, I took a photographer out on site, and we got some views that you can only see if you walk Cars Land. So what we're looking at now, this is going to be our Route 66. This is our main street. It is the heart of Radiator Springs, and you can see off to the right, that is Ramon's House of Body Art, which will be a merchandise location for us. And off to the left, with the building with the tire finial, that is going to be Luigi's Casa de la Tires. And at the end of the street there, you see the white steel frame building. That is the framing for the courthouse that will anchor the end of Route 66 for us. And you see off in the distance our mountain. Now, this is, I think, got to be the world's largest wingnut. This day that we were out taking photos happened to be the day that we topped off Flo's V8 Cafe with this wingnut on top of the rotunda. So you can see that from a couple views in the park now, but it was an exciting milestone for us. And I can tell you, I've never worked on a project before where I can say wingnut as often as I'm saying ringnut. So the whole place is just going to be great. What we're looking at now are Sally's Cozy Cones. The Cozy Cones will be location for snack foods. It's going to look a little bit like what just slid over to the right when it is finished. Think of it as a cornucopia of food. Sally loves her cones. And of course, this is the play field for Luigi's Flying Tires. Luigi's Flying Tires, I probably don't have to tell this group, is based on the old flying saucer attraction in Tomorrowland that closes in the 60s. You'll be able to get into your Fettuccine Grand Tire. A gust of air will come up from beneath you. Luigi will tell Guido to turn on the air compressor, and you'll go off flying. I have a tiny little update. We walked the site today with John Lasseter. We turned on the fans. We stood on the floor, and we are getting ready to test this ride. We're going to do ride testing in a couple of weeks, so we are very excited about this one. And of course, you can't can't talk about cars now without talking about our e-ticket, which is Radiator Springs Racers. It is really going to be fantastic. It's going to be an incredible experience. You get to meet all your favorite characters before you end up racing another vehicle in and among all that beautiful rock work. And Tom, as you know, you tested it with us last summer. We had a test track up, and you know how much fun this is going to be.
I did test ride. In fact, John last year and I got to go take a ride together. It was phenomenal. We just kept saying, go again, go again. Now, speaking of John, by the way, I know you walked the site with me today. And he's been a guiding force throughout the development, really, of Cars Land. Now, John's known for many things. His amazing creativity, his passion for storytelling, and his unique fashion sense. John, are you here? John never makes a move without one of his trademark shirts. And if I'm not mistaken, that was an inspiration for you here in Cars Land, too, right?
Yeah, John has a Hawaiian-style shirt for all occasions, including summer these that are based on Route 66. So believe it or not, we asked him to go into his closet and bring us his Hawaiian-style shirts that have these different prints on them, and we gave them to our costume designers who designed for our cast members. And so when Cars Land opens, you will see some cast members wearing custom Cars Land Hawaiian-style shirts just for this land, all because of John.
You may end up with some people trying to buy a few of those before you're done. So really, one of the greatest things that we get to do at Parks and Resorts is to take these great stories and characters and sort of dive in and expand on them in a really immersive way. I know you're doing that here, so can you talk a little bit about some of the new stuff that you're creating?
Yeah, we are. We got to work with the filmmakers from the very, very beginning, and by doing this, you get some really great backstory that we are being able to put into, from the local cars that we're putting into Cars Land that you'll only see here. The first one you'll come across is Stanley's Oasis, and that's based on these great sketches that Pixar did for the movie. It's something that they wanted to include in Cars, but they ran out of time for. So once we saw these sketches, we realized that we found the perfect design solution for the covered structures that we needed for our queue at Radiator Springs Racers. And these are actually coming out of the ground now. So we are creating the location where cars can get a fill-up of cool water from Stanley. He is the town founder of Radiator Springs. So the story goes, Stanley was a traveling salesman, and he found that he could make some money by selling radiator caps to cars that had overheated. So what he did was he offered them sort of a free, cool water fill-up from the original Radiator Spring, which we will be building. You will see the original spring. And then he made his living selling them radiator caps to replace them once they had blown. Of course, as he became more prosperous, he added more businesses, and that was the town of Radiator Springs. So it's really great that we get to get a little bit more into our personalities and characters. So the other backstory that is not seen in the films, but you get to see here, is a place called Taillight Caverns. Now, we had gone to Pixar to talk to them about an ending to the attraction that we were calling Cars Bad Caverns. And John Lasseter, as usual, took that idea, ran with it, and made it a little bit better, and we're calling it Taillight Caverns. And it's a space filled with stalactites and stalagmites. We call them stalaglites that would look like glowing red taillight formations that will look like Cadillac taillights and classic cars. So it's going to be glowing and beautiful, spectacular. So I can tell you, I just came from the site, and it is so exciting to watch this land come to life and change every day and getting a little bit closer to reality. Every time I walk it, we've got trees going in. The mountain is slowly revealing itself as we pull down scaffolding, and I cannot wait to show it to you all next summer when we officially open.
Awesome. Well, Catherine, thanks very much for being here and for all the amazing work you're doing. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you on the site.